So around 4 months or so ago, we did a video on the oldest gun that I own, as well as the first gun that I ever owned, and I figured, why not do a video on the smallest gun that I own? Now you may be thinking something like, this Spanish Ruby, which we featured on the channel quite a few times, or, maybe something more normal like this SIG 365. Surely one of those two guns are probably the smallest guns that I own, but actually, that's wrong. The smallest gun that I own in my collection is this thing. Here's a penny for, size comparison. Yeah, this thing's freaking tiny. So this thing, and of course I have to always do this. It's not loaded, guys. So if my hand's in front of it, don't cry in the comments, please. But anyways, this thing was given to me by my grandpa, and little funny side note there, he was thoroughly convinced that this was like the John Wilkes Booth used to, like kill Lincoln. He thought it was this exact gun, or at least the same model of this gun. I tried to tell him what the actual gun was, but after a while I just let him believe it because, again, he was pretty convinced this is what was used. Which I'll add, side note, if for whatever reason this was what was actually used, you'll see why later that would be a very impressive feat. But anyways, taking a look at it, it is obviously in disrepair. Originally it would have looked something like this. However, somewhere along the way, it ended up losing its grips, and somebody also completely stripped these two screws right here, which you'll see what those for later. I do want to add though that this spring thing right here, that's not original. That's actually my attempt at fixing this. There was actually a second one in there. I don't know what happened to it. But, I had two of them in there to try to get the right spring pressure. But yeah, that's not original to the gun. Which, that being said, when I had the two springs in there, it did seem like I had enough spring pressure where it should have set off a cartridge. But it appears this thing was dry-fired too much. Because, it seemed like I had enough spring pressure, and it just seems like that little opening right there is just a little too open to actually properly detonate a cartridge, unfortunately. Funny enough, I might have a trick to make this thing work, but yeah, that's a little unfortunate side note. Anyways, all that being said, what exactly is this thing? Well, from what I can gather, it appears to be an Ethan Allen 22 short single shot. Now, I say appears because I only have one marking, and that is this serial number right there. And, markings not being helpful, I just, Googled 22 short pistol, and while there were some close matches, the Ethan Allen ones were the ones that they always look spot on to what I currently have. So all that being said, we will assume that this is an Ethan Allen, or to be more exact, an Ethan Allen and Co., which would make this also quite the rare piece, as they only made around 300 of these things from 1869 to 1871. Now, doing a general overview of the pistol, one thing is very obvious, and that is, aside from this thing is very small, is that this is also a very simple pistol with minimal parts actually required to function. You'll notice that it completely lacks an extractor, so you'd need to manually pull out the casings every time you shot it, and while the hammer is in the down position, it locks the barrel kind of securely in place. Again, this is kind of finicky, and we don't really have we don't have a working spring on this, so if I had a working spring, it would probably hold it a little more securely. However, that's not the hammer's job to hold the barrel in place. That role belongs to this little screw right here, which, yes, that is what the first screw is for. It merely provides friction against the barrel to keep it closed. Now, of course, it doesn't really want to do that. The only thing keeping it from closing actually is that hammer. Yeah, this thing, and I can't really tighten it because it's stripped. That's probably why it's stripped, funny enough. But that was the original goal, was to keep friction on the barrel to kind of keep it closed. Whether or not it did a good job at doing that back in the day, who's to say? Anyways, going further into the pistol, one very important thing to focus on is caliber. Now, this pistol is actually way too small to use something like a standard 22 LR. Now, I actually tried it with a more clean case, so it's not just the fact that this is a very bad case. I just can't find any 22 LR bullets in my house to demonstrate, but a regular 22 LR is much too big to fit in this pistol. The appropriate round for this pistol is a 22 short, which you'll see fits nice in the chamber. Which you're probably thinking, oh wow, I didn't realize you can go weaker than a 22 LR, but it gets even better when you realize that modern 22 short is actually way hotter than the original loading for these pistols. For you see, nowadays, the 22 short uses smokeless propellant. However, back in the day, when these things were around, your 22 short was loaded with black powder, giving you even less velocity in an already small cartridge. Now, with all that being said, you might be wondering, well, what's the use of this pistol? Like, what's the purpose of basically, I want to say a BB gun, practically. And the answer is, well, very, very concealable self-defense. Yeah, I mean, just think of why people would carry Derringers back in the day, and that's the proposed idea for why someone would carry this thing. Though, to be quite honest, I feel like if you could be skilled with a slingshot, and you might do a little bit better. But either way, still a pretty cool pistol. But anyways, I think that is going to do it for this video on the smallest pistol that I own. I hope you all enjoy the video as much as I personally enjoyed making it, and hopefully we can somehow get this in a shooting state. I know a worn out rimfire isn't really possible, but with a weak round like 22, I have some ideas that might work. But anyways, I will see y'all next time.